thing. Bad first half, really good second half, great crowd. You know, again, I thought defensively in the second half we played with incredible desperation. You know, last year we were kind of known as an offensive team, and I think people are starting to see that we're a really, really good defensive team. Without Jazz, we obviously, you know, struggled from three-point area. Obviously, they basically stood in the lane and played a sagging man-to-man and dared us to shoot threes. And you know, we didn't knock down threes, especially, you know, off the bench. You know, we really struggled scoring the ball.
Questions for Coach? Why did Jazz not play tonight?
He had a concussion.
When did that occur?
Backcourt screen against Grand Canyon.
You expect him back for Akron? Coach, Mike Dom, 5 points, 1 of 10 shooting. I looked super quick, so I can't say this for sure, but I think he only had one other collegiate game with 5 or fewer points. So that's
probably dating all the way back to his freshman year.
It was his third game of his collegiate career. That's an outstanding job, I would think.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, the one thing that we have done an exceptional job in 3.5 years here is when we've had time to game plan and game prep, we do a really good job of shutting down the primary scorers on the other team. It's been a theme. You know, some coaches have the philosophy that you know, they're going to let the stars score and they're going to shut everybody else down. We don't hide the fact here that our total focus is on the star players, and we want the peripheral players to beat us. And it wasn't just Dom. It was Dom and Jenkins were the two guys. And if you look at those two guys' numbers coming into this game, I mean, those two guys averaged 50 points a game. And to see what we did to them, I mean, it's incredible defense. I mean, we got to get better offensively, but defensively, again, I don't have their stats in front of me, but I'd like to know, you know, when those two guys have had games like that, especially this year, because we have watched all their games this year.
Coach, is this the best defensive performance your team has given this year?
I didn't think it was that good in the first half. I mean, I thought that, you know, we got beat on backdoor cuts. I thought their point guard, King, did a really good job early in the game of attacking the rim and getting backdoor cuts. They had a lob against us for Skylar Flatten after a timeout. They scored 3 straight times after timeout. So I wouldn't say the first half was you know, as good as we would have liked it. I mean, they shot 50%, but you know, when we got to regroup at halftime and then you hold them to 30% in the second half, I thought that, you know, we got to be better in the first half.
What do you attribute that to, the defensive?
I mean, they'll be here in a minute. You can ask them.
What do you attribute that to?
You know, I think when you win games, sometimes you can get comfortable. You know, and I think that, you know, you can't mess with the game or it's going to come back and get you at some point. And, you know, you can't just, you know, go through first halves and think that you're going to turn things on like a light switch.
Any more questions?
Was there a focus after the first half to get inside more, get to the basket?
Yeah. I think Joe, we had one field goal in the first half that wasn't a 3. You know, and we knew, like, we had mismatches. You know, Jordan Caroline was being defended by their point guard, but he was getting sandwiched. I mean, they sagged in the lane so much. And, you know, I mean, I think that, you know, for us, I mean, Jazz is a really big part of our offense off the bench, giving us pop, you know. And some guys got opportunities tonight, and, you know, whatever.
Just a month after that Washington game, now you're talking about how great the defense is. Is this happened quicker than you thought, or did you know it was always there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, when you have friends in the business, Joe, that come and watch training camp or come to pro day, and probably the biggest feedback that I've gotten from people in the profession that come and watch us is people talk about, and we have a lot of people come in to our practices. We had another former 30-year college coach come in today and watch shoot around, and everybody talks about our length and our ability to switch, and so we felt that we could be a really great defensive team. I thought we'd actually shoot the ball a little bit better than we have of late. But having said that, we did feel defensively that this team could shut people down when we really focused and have time to prep. We had a week. We better defend against Akron because we got a week to prepare again.
Got pretty loud in there a few different times, probably the best atmosphere we've seen at home so far, and it looks like we could have sellouts really from here on out. I mean, how much does that energize your team?
I think the crowd, for us is phenomenal. I mean, you walk in at the 40-minute mark, and guys are talking about how many students are out there, and obviously now the students will be on break, so there's probably an extra, 500 tickets or whatever in the student section now that we need to sell, and it gives people an opportunity to get some good seats behind that bucket. But the crowd's awesome, and we feed off them. The coaching staff feeds off them. The players feed off them. And, to have a ranked team basically all summer, and now we're, looking at, I don't know what date we play Akron, but we'll still be ranked in the top 10 then, and so I think it's cool for the community for sure, and they're buying in and feeling the excitement of what our games are like, because they're exciting. I mean, tonight as a head coach it might not have been fun, but as a spectator it was awesome. My daughter came running up and said, "Wow, what a great game," and I'm not so sure I felt like that for the 40 minutes.
If I could bounce off of that, do you feel like you guys got better today? Do you feel like you took a step back? Obviously,
no, I think we got. Dom. I don't know if we quite understand. Dom is averaging 25 points a game. That's what he's averaging. That's not a high game. And Jenkins is averaging 22.3 or whatever. That's 50 points between two guys. They scored 90 points at halftime. They move the ball. They cut. They share the ball. That's a really, really hard team to defend. And I think if I had to, which I do after every game, if I had to go back and reevaluate our preparation, we probably spent 98% preparation for South Dakota State on defense. And I got to get better as a coach. I got to spend more time offensively on what the other team is trying to dictate to make the game easier on our guys. From an offensive standpoint, instead of me solely focusing on the defense and our staff focusing on the defense. There's two sides of the ball, and that's something I definitely have to get better at, and I've got to get better at figuring out what we got to do in the first half. And it'd be awesome if we could just bring all you guys in at halftime, and then you guys could get a feel for what we're doing. But since Trey walked in, I know I mentioned it, but I want him to hear it. That is the single best defensive performance that probably Dom has ever faced. And that's a big-time credit to him, because at his size, to guard somebody who can shoot a three and is really crafty around the rim, I don't know if I've seen a better defensive performance. I certainly haven't here. That's the best defensive performance on one guy by one individual since I've been coaching here.
You said before the game there wouldn't be one guy that it would share it. Did it? Because Trey was playing him so well, did you just kind of say, go for it?
Yeah, I think, you never know. We felt like it was a good matchup. We felt like, this week that Trey was completely dialed in. We felt like he really took it, like it was a personal thing for him. He wanted the challenge. And we kind of messed around, Joe, as the week went on with different people guarding different people at the 2, the 3, and so forth. But because of Trey's shot blocking, and when he plays with great defensive discipline like he did tonight, I think he's one of the best defenders in the entire country, if not the best interior defender in the country.
Coach, I ask you this every time, but once again, you did a great job of getting to the line. And beyond dumping the ball inside, are players doing anything? Is there a particular skill set that draws fouls or that you can tell us about?
I just think spacing and being physical. I think if I don't have any stats, but the first year we were here, if we didn't shoot 30 free throws, we weren't going to win with Marquise and TC and those guys. It's been a theme of teams that I've been with that we want to shoot threes and get to the foul line. And I think it helps your defense, and it's a part of our game, and it'll always be a part of our game as long as I'm coaching, is you've got to get to the foul line. It's a big part of the NBA game. It's a big part of the collegiate game. It's a big part of AAU ball. It's a big part of high school. And so, being aggressive, attacking the rim, and tonight it was a little more difficult because they compacted the lane so much.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Questions for
Trey, what was your focus today facing 24?
I just wanted to make it difficult for him. He's a phenomenal player. There was a couple times he actually had me, but he just luckily he missed a shot. But he's a phenomenal offensive player, phenomenal. And I just want to kind of make life a little bit rough for him today.
You sit back here, you see him probably one of the worst individual performances in his last couple of years at least. Do you feel a little bit of pride for that?
Yes and no. I mean that's one thing that I feel like that's one thing I do best is play defensive. They're not really looking for me to score the ball. Offensively. One thing I take pride on is my defense. So I was glad I was able to have a pretty decent outing today on defense.
pretty high praise from Coach Muss too? He sometimes you've been in here and you've been yelling at the defense and all that. How important is that to you? Coming into the program and having Eric Musselman praise your defensive performance.
Well, it means a lot. Credit to my last school, Old Dominion. That's one thing that they really preached. And if I didn't play well defensively at my last school, I wasn't playing. So that's one thing that they kind of harped on, and that's the reason why I feel like I am the defensive player I am today.
How'd you prepare for today's game? He's 26 points per game this season, and they scored 139 last time out. How did you prepare for this game?
Well, our main focus going into this week was taking away the two stars is what we said. Taking away making it hard for Jenkins and Dom to kind of get theirs, and we kind of wanted to see other players make plays.
You guys were able to do that, yet it was still a really tight game. How do you guys feel after this one? Obviously, you want to get the win, but maybe it didn't come as easily as you would have hoped.
Yeah, I think we make it a little bit tough on ourselves sometimes. I feel like we did play well defensively in the first half. We held them to 40, which it's not terrible, but I think our offense we just kind of got to start getting it clicking a little bit earlier, than we do later in the game like we usually do. So kind of coming out hot on both sides of the court.
What do you attribute that difference in play first half versus second half for this team so far this year?
Coach Muss really gets if we playing bad, he really gets it. He really.
Talk about first half versus second.
Yeah, at halftime, Coach Muss really gets into, he tells us what he's really disappointed in.
What did he tell you at halftime today?
He just said there's no reason why we should be shooting 31% from the floor, and we gotta start attacking the rim a little bit more. And that's one of the main things he said.
That's all I said.
Yeah.
Coach described their first half effort as kind of a sagging zone. It seemed to give you guys some trouble with only one 2-point basket in the first half. Was it a case of just attacking that zone a little bit more in the second half? Because your points in the paint went way up in the second half, as a team, I mean.
Yeah, I think one thing we did was we kind of started spacing and kind of started getting the ball to like an open side. So, 2 men on the open side. And that was able to create, passing lanes, throwbacks and stuff like that. We got a couple post-ups and then throwbacks and drives and then dump-offs. So, I think that really helped us in the second half, kind of get in the paint.
17, 6 games in 17 days, all away from home. What'd you think of the crowd tonight?
Oh, it was phenomenal. I was glad to be back in Lawler. Fans are always phenomenal. Our student section is one of the best, I feel like, in the nation. They really come out and they're here early. And, I think that kind of helps us, when we are struggling at times, because the crowd gets us into the game, gets us back in the game.
This not really often a team can shoot like 34% and pull off a win. You talk about, we want to be a defensive team and all that jazz, but how cool is it to actually see it come to fruition to where, hey, we just won a game because of our defense?
It's great. I mean, that's one thing that, we talked about, especially after the Washington game, our exhibition game, is our defense was terrible. So that's one thing that we've been focused on a little bit more. But I think as Coach Musk said, it kind of taken away from our offense. So I think now we're gonna figure it out now. We're gonna figure it out so we get a good outing on both ends of the court.
Apart from your defensive versatility on the floor, your offensive game has seemed to grow a little bit. You had a couple really good moves in the second half. You had a post-up layup and one, and another putback dunk. How do you think your offensive game has grown this year?
Well, actually, believe it or not, I feel like I've been doing that kind of since my last year. One thing that my coaches have always harped on is attack the rim. I feel like they feel like I'm athletic enough to where if I attack the rim, I'm either going to get fouled or I'm going to be able to get a layup or a dunk. So that's one thing that I feel like I do well on the offensive end is just kind of play hard.
More questions for Trey? Thank you. Questions for Caleb?
What are you taking away from this one, at least at this moment, Caleb?
Say it again.
Sorry. What are you taking away from this game, at least at this moment?
We just got to get a lot better. Like, we got a lot of stuff to work on. Mind you, they are a good team and stuff. We did a good job on 2 of their main stars. But that doesn't mean we can let everybody else just do whatever they want. We got to take pride with everybody, all 5 people on the court. I got to be way more productive, way more efficient. I suck. I suck right now. I suck. So I got to get a lot better myself, too. I just guess it was a little bit better today, but, man, I still got to get a lot better. Me personally, that's a lot on me. Cody got to stay out of foul trouble so he can keep him in the game, so he can have a nice rotation. Guys got a little bit tired, playing a lot of minutes at a time. But I mean, overall, we got the win against a solid team. Even though it was at home, it shouldn't have went down like that. But it is what it is. We'll take the win and keep it moving.
Coach described their first half effort, South Dakota State as kind of a sagging zone. You guys ended up with 1 2-point basket. Would you give them credit? Did they do a pretty good job there, or did you guys need to do a little bit more to exploit it, do you think?
Man, they did good packing in the paint. It's one of those things where coach really wants us to try to get into the lane, but us as players, sometimes we're looking at it and we're like, we kind of settle too much because there is that many open shots on the 3. But when they're not going in, we just got to figure out a way to get inside the lane. I think we did a good job of running our fist out and our fist up. TP played really good minutes for us, got a little drew and ones, and really punched the ball in, and he was a force down low for us. And JB came in and got 5 quick rebounds, so he played his minutes pretty well. But, yeah, people are going to try to figure out and do different stuff to us all the time just because it is going to be hard to guard us, man. So they're going to try things like sagging zone or zone, regular zone, or sagging man like today. We just got to figure out, and ultimately we just got to knock down shots. So especially me, I got to knock down open shots.
Yeah, defensively, Mike Dom has played over 120 college games probably, and I took a quick look. I think he's tied for his career low tonight.
Yeah.
So I know that was a lot of Trey, but you guys were bouncing people off him all night. How would you grade the overall defensive effort, you think?
Especially on their 2 stars, it was really good. We were high alert on them. We had the week to prep for them, and that's one thing I will say we do really well here with Coach Musk is that when there's 1, 2, 3 stars, how many it is, we take pride and try to make sure we hold them to a career low, and we do everything we can to make sure those guys don't get going. We got to make other people make plays, and tonight, a guy like Flatten, he made plays, which we knew he was a concern already. He's a good player. He went 50%. 20 points, so he was high concern too. But I mean, on the 2 main guys that we were worried about, we did our job on. But sometimes you have nights like that where guys come in and guys come in off the bench for them and they play really well and hit a shot to end of the first half, give them momentum going into the second half, stuff like that. So us being a top 10 team, I mean, we know that stuff's going to happen. We know people are going to hit shots they're not supposed to hit. Guys are going to, make plays they're not supposed to make. So you just got to keep it rolling. move past it.
In a way, is it? I know you would have loved to have had him out there, but to be able to get a win without Jazz, knowing that you know he's not even going to come in for garbage time. Is it good to know that moving forward?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it'd be great to have everybody that we can. Jazz is a big piece for us, especially on the three-point line. We could have definitely probably drew their defense out a little bit more by having him on the court, just by him hitting a couple more threes. But Niz and Corey, man, those guys are capable of hitting 3 threes a game. 4 threes in a game. It's just hard for sometimes to come off the bench like that, and when you're not dependent on, and then you come in, you get jumped, you get through in like that, and then you're expected to make plays. I mean, if guys want to play past this level, that's what's going to happen anyways, and guys got to be ready to make plays like that. And Niz and Corey are definitely easily capable of doing that, stepping up and making shots. It just didn't happen, and it's hard to. I will say it is hard for them to come off the bench and just try to find a flow like that. But I mean, the way coaches, it is what it is. It's got to happen like that. So I know a game's coming for them too. I'm not worried about it. I know it's probably hard a little bit mentally on them, but I'm telling you, whenever they get past that little hump, it's going to be a much different story, because then we're going to have 2 and 3 more shooters that people do not want that problem.
Got pretty loud in there a couple different times, and obviously you guys were gone for a long time, so fans got their money's worth tonight, and it's going to be like this probably the rest of the way. What did it feel like from your point of view?
I mean, it feels good. I mean, you come back and play in front of these fans who are going hard for you, and I know they've been waiting for a long time for us to come back, and so have we. We've been trying to do our work and get our job done on the road, which we have, and then to come back here and then obviously give them a game like that. It's good for the fans. It's not good for us. We don't want games like that, but they do. So as long as we come out with a W, I really don't care how it goes. We like to make the game a little less intense than that, I guess. But I'll take the W. I don't care. It's an ugly one, but I'll take it.
How much has Trey Porter's defense changed the way you guys play?
Man, I'm sure a lot of people didn't think he could be able to move on the ball like that. He's just really active, and he's got so much better while he's been here, while Coach helping him out technique-wise and jabbing and using his length and using athleticism and using his body control with certain guys and guards. And he's been really good for us, tipping shots on guys like Jenkins and then blocking shots on Dom and stuff like that. So, I mean, he's really big for us, especially knowing that he's not a liability whenever we get switched on late shot clock. He works his butt off, man. He's out there playing. Obviously everybody knows his condition and stuff, so he gets a little tired, but he works really hard for us, and there's not any type of concerns whenever he gets on one of those guys.
More questions? Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thanks.